Now, let's break down the all elite wrestling 4 pillars one by one. Now, obviously, the first rank is Max. Then second rank is Darby Allin. Third rank is Sammy G. And fourth rank, dude, why should we even call this guy a fourth rank member of the 4 pillars, man? Jack Perry should not be even called a pillar. It's like this guy has been exposed ever since these 4 guys have been beefing. It's like I call the 4 pillars what Tony Khan looks for in a professional wrestler. Now, that's not a diss to Max and Darby. I'm just saying Khan loves small men. I don't know why he loves small men who know how to work. It's like, why do you view those guys as your cornerstones for your brand? It's like, you gotta make that make sense. That's the equivalent of Vince McMahon making the Radicals his pillars for his company back in the day. That's like freaking Eric Bischoff making Saturn, Chris Benoit, Dane Malenko, Eddie G. That's like saying those guys were his pillars for WCW. It's like, no, bro, that's not gonna work. Those guys are not draws. They are too small to be your draws. It's like, you have to have diversity when you are building around cornerstones for your company. All 4 guys cannot be the same height. All 4 guys can't be similar in size. That makes no sense, right? What made the OVW pillars different is all those guys felt different, they looked different, and they talked different. None of them had major flaws that we can pick apart. The 4 pillars, it's like, man, there's flaws that we can actually pick apart, but Jack Perry is a main part where we can actually pick him apart because he's not it. He has been exposed, man. It's like, man, he needs to go back to the drawing board. Look, we should not have a 4-way pillars match. This makes no sense. This feels forced. This match should only be between Max and Darby. Those 2 guys are the only guys out of these 4 that Triple H will actually sign. You need to build around those guys. Sammy G, Jack Perry, bruh, you gotta put them back in that mid-card. It's like, look, this feels forced. 2 out of the 4 guys are not it, especially Jack Perry. Jack Perry, he's all theme song. It's like once that bell rings, the crowd goes mild, the crowd goes silent. All he is a theme song. Just imagine if he had a plain generic theme song. My God. Dude, he's hanging on by a thread with a theme song. It's like he's like Adam Coleslaw with less talent. All he is a theme song, man, which is sad. It's like, man, like he needs to go back to the drawing board. He needs to be off TV and find a new gimmick, find a character, and learn how to talk better. It's like, I don't get it. You are the son of Luke Perry. How come you can't act? How come you can't talk? If your father was an actor who was famous, he was a star TV guy, I don't get it. What did you learn from your father? It's like, dude, did Luke Perry bring Jack on a set? It's like, man, you have to have something that reminds us of your father when it comes to your traits. There's nothing that reminds me of Luke Perry. Let that sink in. There's nothing that reminds me of Luke Perry in Jack Perry when it comes to their personalities. It's like, bruh, he's the opposite of his father. That's not a good thing because his father was cool. How come you ain't cool? Look, he needs to go back to the drawing board and he needs to find a new gimmick. This is the gimmick that I will give him. I will give him a Raven-like gimmick back in WCW. Based on his hairstyle, he can actually pull it off. Based on his face and his hair, he could actually pull off a Raven gimmick. Now, I heard people telling me Jack cannot pull it off because he's not a threat like Raven was. Look, man, Raven was not always a threat. Raven used to be Johnny Polo. Raven used to be a geek manager. Raven used to be on commentary for the WWF. He was never supposed to be a star. Vince saw him as a jobber manager who can do commentary. Raven was not supposed to be where he went, right? Once again, Raven used to be Johnny Polo, a mid-card dork manager. So don't give me that crap. Everybody starts somewhere. Nobody starts at the top. Raven was at the bottom. He did not start out as a star. It took him a while, right? I feel like ECW saved his career. So that can be Jack. Dude, what's stopping Jack from being the next Raven, right? Based on his promos, he has the upside to sound like Raven because right now, every time Jack talks, he whines and complains. That sounds like Raven. Remember? What about me? What about Raven? Raven always bitched and complained every Nitro, but that got over. So why can't that be Jack? All Jack has to do is cut whiny promos and maybe dress like Kurt Cobain. He can pull that off. He can pull off that grunge look like a Kurt Cobain, like a Raven, like a Brian Pillman. He can pull off that look based off his hairstyle. Now, all you gotta do is give Jack maybe a faction, just like Raven's Flock. That can work. But you have to take Jack off of TV. He needs to go back to that drawing board, man. Find a new character. I would give him a Raven-like character. I think Jack has that kind of upside to be like a Raven. Because this dude always complains and whines in his promos. He can pull that off. Right? He just, look, take time, go away, learn a new hold, find a gimmick. Like I said, I will give him a Raven-like character. But when it comes to Tony Khan, he is not creative like Vince McMahon. See, if this was Vince McMahon would have gave Jack a new gimmick, a new character. At least tried. It's like, look, Tony Khan allows his guys to drown. It's like, man, obviously Jack has no charisma. He has no character. Give him a character. He's drowning, Tony Khan. That's what Vince always did. Every time somebody was bland and generic, he gave them something to work with. Example, Dean Malenko. He turned Dean into a 007-like character. Guess what? That worked. He turned boring ass Dean Malenko into a ladies' man. Let that sink in. At least he gave him something, right? You can't let boring guys be boring guys. If they are boring, you have to do something about it. You can't let them drown. Jack has been exposed. Dude, he will never be a world champion in All Elite Wrestling at the pace he's going. Max said that to his face, which was a fact. Jack is not good. Look, man, we should not have a 4 pillars match. This should be a one-on-one match, Darby and Max. Now, what do I think about Sammy G? Sammy G is solid. At least he tries. At least he tries to show some charisma. At least he tries to show off some kind of character, some kind of trait. At least he tries, right? At least he tries to show some kind of personality. So he's way better than Jack. I think Sammy does have upside. Once again, he tries to have a character. And I feel like Sammy G has a look. He has a face that you want to slap. So he has huge upside, I think. But Jack, right now, Jack is a lost cause. With this Jungle Boy character, he's a lost cause, man. He has no upside. There's a reason why this guy hasn't touched a singles title out of those 4 pillars. Because he's not that good. He doesn't have the charisma to be a champion. That's just facts. So when it comes to Darby, he is self-explanatory. Darby Allin is a modern day Rey Mysterio. He's over. In fact, I think he might be the most over out of the 4 pillars. And Max, he's Max. Obviously, Max is a star. There's only 2 stars out of the 4 pillars, Darby and Max. Darby gets the best reaction on the card. Like I said, he is a modern day Rey Mysterio. I feel like, yes, Triple H would sign him because Rey would not be around much longer as a wrestler. I feel like if you sign Darby Allin, that's Rey Mysterio's replacement. Kids love him. So I feel like Darby Allin I think he has more upside than Max. Because there are tons of guys that are like Max on Raw, on SmackDown. It's like, who needs Max when you have LA Knight? Who needs Max when you have Austin Theory? Who needs Max when you have Grayson Waller? Right? But there's nobody on Raw or SmackDown that's similar to Darby Allin. That's why I feel like Darby Allin would make more money than Max in the WWF. So that's my opinion. Darby Allin has tons of upside that could make you money. And to me, man, he's gotten so much better. I feel like Sting has taught him a lot. I feel like Sting taught him how to talk better. It's like lately Darby has looked very comfortable on the microphone. I feel like Sting has taught him a lot on how to portray your character on TV when you talk. Sting has taught him well. So overall, there shouldn't be a 4 pillars match. This should be just a standard one-on-one match. Make some money. Okay? Make some money. Just have Darby and Max face off, man. Make some money. Those guys will make you money. Sammy G and Jack Perry, it's like those guys are dead weight. Nobody wants to see them. We want to see Darby and Max. That's it. I'm done.